Blog Talk Radio.
Fans, here we go with the main event of the evening. Ladies and gentlemen in attendance, boxing fans joining us around the world. It's time for the bout you've all been waiting for. Finally, it is showtime.
Here, man, we dedicate our life to this sport. We do thousands of sit-ups in camp. We run hundreds of miles, for the ones that take it serious. And we just dedicate ourselves fully to our craft, man. We watch tape. We have attitude. We rooting, and we go into that fight to lay it on the line.
Hey, what up, boxing fans? This is the Rope-A-Dope Radio Podcast. I am your host, Chris Carlson. We are live on a Tuesday, West Coast style edition, and that's right, it's back on a Tuesday, okay? Not on a Wednesday, not doing it. In fact, last week I wanted to do it on a Wednesday, but sometimes life gets in the way, and I got delayed that night to the point where I couldn't do it. Tried to do a quick show on Friday, like an hour show, and I was having some issues with my with the sound. Just couldn't quite get it figured out. I only had 45 minutes to do a show or something like that, so I didn't have time to get it figured out. So I apologize for those who were looking for some boxing content last week. Obviously, the whole Tyson Fury stuff. A variety of other stuff that I wasn't able to get to. Like I said, just life got in the way, and then technology got in the way. So I apologize for those, like I said, who were expecting some content. I really thought I'd be able to deliver it, but that was not the case. But that's neither here or there. We are now right in the middle, right smack dab in the middle of Spence Porter fight week, and I'm really looking forward to this fight just because I think stylistically it should be fun to watch. Of course, Spence is the clear favorite for good reason, but like I said, I'm really interested to see how this thing plays out. I think it's going to be a good fight. Maybe the rounds won't add up to being some sort of great fight, but I really think that within the round we should get plenty of action. So we're definitely going to break that down, preview and predict it. And, we'll talk about the undercard as well. It's got a really good undercard. I think Benavidez and Durrell is just, once again, just a good action fight. If you look at the Jose Cito Lopez and John Molina, right? That's going to be a good-ass fight. Mario Barrios is back. He's taking on Akhmedov. I don't really know how competitive that fight will be, but there is just, like I said, a lot to talk about, no doubt about it. And, of course, we're going to start with some recap because, hey, we actually got a much better card than expected, especially at the top with the PBC on FS1. Alfredo Angulo, El Perro, the dog, El Perro, took care of business, and, in a shocker, complete shocker. Huge underdog. Quillin had taken this fight September 21st, just because Caleb Truax had gotten hurt. So they were just kind of keeping him busy. Okay, not a whole lot of people thought Angulo had a chance. Well, boy, were we wrong. And that's just like another example of just enjoying boxing sometimes. Some of us want to, especially on social media, want to play professional matchmaker to the extent that you're like, all right, dude, but do you really know? Because, if you're not a professional matchmaker by trait, maybe you don't think, or maybe you don't know as much as you think. And I'm included in that. Now, I thought it was just a stay busy fight. Like I said, I liked what was on the undercard. I definitely was interested in the undercard, but yeah, I didn't think that would be. I thought stylistically it'd be fun, and then Quillin would probably just bruise up, swell up his face, cut up his face, and it'd be over. But it was just the opposite, man. Quillin looked good early, but that's about it. It was a hell of a fight, though. And I love when fights turn out that way. You know what I mean? Where you're like, no big deal. Oh, shit, that shit popped off. But we'll talk about the undercard as well. We had 2 highlight reel knockouts on the undercard. We also had a interesting fight with Delorme. That's who it was. Delorme and Williams, an unbeaten prospect who was trying to become a contender. And then we'll talk about the Showbox card as well from Friday. And actually, I'm getting a couple of messages here. Okay. So I'm going to reboot the switchboard. I think that will do the trick. Some people said that they had gotten knocked off. I apologize. I do see some people still on, though, that didn't get knocked off. So maybe it's just some random stuff. I don't really know, but I think that we should be okay now. But yeah, like I said, just it was a fun weekend. One of those weekends, that you're like, let's hope we can get just something. Let's hope we can get some action. We definitely got some action, no doubt about it. I'm going to start with that recap. We do have some news. Wilder and Ortiz 2 now has a home. We were wondering if it was going to be Showtime. We were wondering if it was going to be Fox. We'll tell you all the details. Ryan Garcia did a complete 180. It looked like he was going to maybe be on the outs with Golden Boy, and he turned right around and signed an extension, something that Golden Boy definitely had to accomplish because if they hadn't, it was going to be really weird. You know what I mean? They were throwing him under the bus. They were doing it on Twitter. It was really weird, but for now, it's all patched up, they say. So, we'll see if that's actually the case, but I assume it is, and he's going to return. I'll tell you his return date as well. The Canelo Kovalev, they had their press conference and all that good stuff. We found out that, it's actually going to be at 175 for the Kovalev's light heavyweight belt. But there is some stipulation in the contract that could or could not affect Kovalev, and it has to do with the rehydration clause. Now, for those who aren't familiar, rehydration clause is for the next day. Usually it's in the morning. And the IBF actually does this. They don't do it in unifications anymore, but they do that where you can only weigh in 10 pounds. So if it's 175, you can only be 185 in the morning, and then after that, you're good to go. So there is a rehydration clause. I'll give you my thoughts on it, and I'll just kind of talk you through it because there is some detail missing in there. But it could actually do some damage. We'll see, though. We'll see. And like I said, there is a variety of other news that I'll get to. Top Rank has their fall schedule. We'll kind of jet through it really quick. It does look like now Showtime is releasing some fights, too. We'll talk about that. There's a fight that has been talked about for a long, long time, and it looks like they're trying to do it again, which is you'll see what I mean when I get there. But as far as recap, like I said, we'll start with recap, then we'll get into some news, then we'll get into that Spence Porter, I just said. So we're definitely gonna get into it. I think everything's cool now with the switchboard. Before we get into it, though, if this is your first time listening to the Rope-A-Dope Radio podcast, it streams live right here on blogtalkradio.com/Rope-A-Dope Radio. Okay, you can find it on Blog Talk. Like I said, it streams live. It also archives. It's basically the headquarters. However, you don't have to listen to the Rope-A-Dope Radio podcast only on Blog Talk. Okay, we got it on iTunes, aka Apple Podcasts, Player FM, tune in. We get a lot of listens through them, Spreaker, Stitcher. I'm also part of the Grueling Truth Sports Podcast Network, which can be found everywhere, including iHeartRadio. In fact, if you want to use your Siri or Alexa through TuneIn or Spotify, you can find the Rope-A-Dope Radio podcast there, as well as the Grueling Truth. Why don't you head on over to thegruelingtruth.net? That's thegruelingtruth.net. It's boxing, it's football, it's basketball, it's baseball, it's everything in between. They got a great sponsor over there, betnow.eu. That's betnow.eu. They got a promo code TGT. That's TGT as in the Grueling Truth. Okay? And one more thing, if you're thinking about cutting the cord or you already have and you're just not that happy, college football, NFL, basketball is around the corner, the baseball is about to ramp up for the playoffs, you might need cable, right? So you should take a look at AT&T Now, okay? AT&T TV Now. It's they do have a 7-day free trial. However, the plans start as low as $50. That includes HBO. You can stream it anywhere. It has the cloud DVR, no annual contract. Check out AT&T TV Now. It's a streaming cable service. I actually use it. I do really well with it. It's one of the best out there. DirecTV. It used to be DirecTV. Now it's kind of comboed because I'm an AT&T customer, and part of this whole ad had to do with AT&T and DirecTV now. So try AT&T Now. I'm not trying to confuse you. I may have just confused you. Anyway, as far as getting in the recap, like I said, we didn't really expect much out of that main event with Angulo and Quillin. Real quick, just kind of giving my take on that Tyson Fury stuff since I didn't get it last week. The guy, Otto Wallin, hey, man, he was in there to fight. I liked how he went to the body. I thought he should have went to the body more. Had he had a little bit more experience, he probably would have done that, or he probably wouldn't have faded and gassed down the stretch till he got real arm punchy. But the left hook or left hand, whatever, landed clean, and it caused the cut. No matter what we think, if there was a scrape from the laces or whatever, obviously Fury was in some trouble there. It was pretty crazy how Joe Tessitore instructed, the sideline reporter to be like, hey, or the ringside, I should say, not sideline, hey, tell him what's going on. It was kind of funny. You don't really hear that much where you have the broadcast telling the corner, hey, just so you guys know, it wasn't a headbutt. It was caused from a punch. And they were probably going to, they had a replay there in Nevada, in Las Vegas. So they had already found that out on the replay. It probably would have gotten to, the corner at some point, but it was pretty crazy. It kind of reminded me, just on a much smaller scale, who was it? Was it Sheridan? Who the hell was it? Was it Bob Sheridan? Anyway, they used to do these. I think it was the McWilliams brothers, the Puerto Rican brothers, out of. I think it actually was in Puerto Rico. It was a smaller card, but I'm pretty sure it was Sheridan. But anyway, the guy broadcasting the fight, and I believe that was Sheridan, but I think he had a piece of a prospect, like a percentage of a prospect, unless he just cared about him a lot. But he was sitting there broadcasting the fight, right? And then he'd go off mic and scream something to the guy in the ring in Spanish, so you could hear him, right? And then he'd come back and be like, sorry about that. Yeah, anyway, so he goes like this. So he's sitting there telling the guy what to do in the ring. But like I said, this was just kind of random broadcast. It was one of those discounted pay-per-views they used to do a chunk of years ago. But that reminded me of that, where the broadcast gets involved to the point where Davidson, the trainer, you know how they go live with the trainer during the round, and Tyson Fury's trainer, Davidson, said it was a headbutt. He's like, excuse me, could you repeat that? He's like, no, it was a punch, dude. And obviously, for those who know, that if you get, cut off of a punch, if the fight stops, the fight's over. You lose the fight. And clearly ESPN would lose out on that Wilder Fury rematch, and that would be pretty big because it sounds like there's a rematch clause in there as well. But anyway, I kind of thought Tyson Fury looked just a little off. Ben Davison, his trainer, did say how the last chunk of days and before the weigh-in and after the weigh-in that Tyson Fury had skewed away from his eating habits. Basically, the plan that they have, you got it all tracked out of what you should eat, and it sounds like he strayed away from the plan. And he looked a little sluggish to me. Maybe that had something to do with it. Davidson expanded it by saying, if you put in some foreign foods in your body that you haven't done in 6 weeks, you may feel a little strange. And that's what he did admit that. Tyson Fury also said randomly, and this is where you just don't know when Tyson Fury says something, if he's telling the truth or not, because he said the night before the Wilder fight that he had 4 beers. And although he never said he quit drinking, he did say that he'd have a beer from time to time, just not during camp, and especially not the night before. So I really don't know what to think. Here's what may happen. Fury's been training ever since it took him, 9 months to lose the weight. Then he had a bunch of camps, and he's never really taken a break, like a large enough break maybe. And he could just be, overtrained. It happens. We see it from time to time. You do need that rest. You need to recoup. You need it. And that could be what it was. Maybe it was focus in general because of who he had, an untested guy who he had in front of him. And this isn't taking anything away from Otto Wallin. I mean, like I said, he fought hard. He showed some heart. Like I said, if he had a little bit more experience, he may have not gasped. But I did like what I saw out of him. But yeah, it was I kind of think that he was just a little overtrained, and maybe this cut, even though I hate to say it's a blessing in disguise, because I think that's kind of silly, because, it's a cut, and it could affect him in this very next fight or the next couple of fights, whatever. But for him to have to shut it down a little bit, maybe that's going to help him. But they say it took 50 stitches to wrap that puppy up, stitch that thing up, so the cut man got a raise, though. I guess he got a little bonus, I should say, which was definitely, wow, it definitely should have. I'm glad he got it. Let's put it that way. He did a freaking great job with that cut, dude. That was you could see the meat. And, the only reason why it did we know why it didn't get stopped, because it's in Nevada, and that's where the Wilder Fury rematch is going to be, in Nevada. So Nevada knows this. Everybody knows this that's there. They're not going to stop the goddamn fight. I know a lot of people are like, it should have been stopped. This is bullshit. Nah, dude, that's how boxing works. That's just how it goes. But hey, he showed some heart getting through it. Yada, yada, yada. Anyway, I don't want to bore you with last week's stuff. Let's talk about Angulo, Quillin, and like I said, I thought this was going to be, fun to watch or whatever, but I never would have guessed that it would have went this deep. It went deep, dude. This was a fun fight. Quillin, he looked pretty good early, actually. He looked pretty good. He came out pretty strong. Nothing too crazy. He was just jabbing, really. Landed some nice right hands. Nothing too much. I gave Quillin the opening 2 rounds. There was some two-way in the second round, but not much. But after that, now some people say that Quillin didn't win another round after that. I happen to disagree with that. I think he still won some rounds, but the next 2 rounds, Angulo, it turned into a slugfest. Angulo wants a slugfest, but Quillin was like, well, I'm here. I might as well just start, punching and landing a big punch. And we know Quillin, the way he's gone in his career, he usually is a front runner. And by the 6th, 7th, 8th round, he starts to fade a little bit. He's been hurt late in fights. We've seen that. That's why I found it a little funny when last April, when Truax, he won the first 2 rounds with the Truax fight. And I got to say, his body looked good, pause. His jab looked good. He looked crisp. He looked sharp. Whereas this time he didn't look as sharp coming out, I'll say that. But he didn't look bad early, you know what I mean? He didn't look bad until the fight started wearing on and until those overhand rights started landing. And that's exactly what happened in the 3rd round and in the 4th round. You had even, for example, the 4th round, Quillin comes out kind of early and midway through the round, boxing decently, but then a hard-ass right hand lands again, and it seems like, he rocked him enough to buzz him, if not full-on hurt him. Now, Quillin did rally back, and throughout the fight he rallied back. But it was shocking. I did give him the 5th round. I thought he was just kind of pot-shotting, like a little stick and move, because in the 3rd and 4th, he's like, okay, wait a second. I need a little bit of time, And I think he got the time there, but then Angulo won the 6th round for sure. The left hooks that he was landing was pretty damn good. Landed the bigger shots. Both. Look at the power punch lands. 35 for Angulo, 30 for Quillin. These dudes were getting it in, man. It was a really fun fight. The 7th round was really, really close, as was the 8th. You had more left hooks, some overhand rights, and just some busy work from Angulo. And you had the hard straight right hands from Quillin that Angulo just ate right up. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it could have went either way. I feel like the 8th for sure was Angulo, though, because he buzzed him again. He hurt him again. 9th round, again, a decent start for Quillin. And then guess who midway in the last minute of the round comes on? Angulo. The dude is just, he's persistent, and he is a dog. The El Perro thing makes sense. He comes out with the dog collar. That's just his thing, and he's fun to watch, dude. And I don't know. It sounds like he's a little. I'm not gonna say. I almost said rejuvenated. We know Angulo's not rejuvenated. Now he can feel like it inside, but his fighter spirit, he's aged. He's even slower than he was, but that stuff doesn't really matter. His mind right now is still sharp. You can tell he wants it. Maybe this time off has done him some good. Now, obviously, he was taking on Quillin, who is past his prime as well. And now that you saw it in the ring, you're like, wow, why didn't I think this actually was going to be a better fight than I thought? I did think Quillin did enough to win the 10th round, but man, his legs were stiff, dude. And he was just kind of limbering around the ring, trying his best, you know what I mean? But it was just kind of like a jab and some quick combos and then just move, you know what I mean? It was a close fight. I was just fine with Angulo winning it. The scorecards read 96-94 for Quillin, and then 96-94 for Angulo, and 97-93 for Angulo. And I had it about 6-4. When I watched it the first time, I had it about a draw or like a 5-4, 1-6-4 for Angulo. I'm just fine with it. I think Angulo definitely won it because he landed the bigger shots throughout. Now you had, Quillin landed more, and they actually threw basically the same amount of punches. If you look at it, Quillin threw 694 and Angulo threw 695. It took him a while to get his rhythm going, Angulo. Once he did, then his punch rate, went up too. But Quillin landed 291 to 164, landed 42% of his shots, dude. But the power punch that's where Angulo, he actually landed more, 154 to 152. So how many of those 291 lands, were just jabs that weren't doing much? That's basically how you got to look at it. But I would have been okay with the draw when I was watching it live. I thought, you know what, they're probably going to give it a draw. And it was when I saw it was a split decision too, I thought, it's going to be a draw. No big deal. But I am happy that Angulo got the nod. I think he deserved it. Like I said, he landed the harder shot. And just going back to, so many people acting as if they're professional matchmakers on Twitter. And you had a guy from the LA Times, and not who you think it is. Okay, it's not Lance. But you had a guy, while the fight was about to start and was starting, he literally said that this shouldn't even happen. How is this happening as if shit like this in boxing hasn't happened? Now, you could say I'm against the fight. I don't think they should have lined up. I don't think the commission should have, allowed this fight to happen. If that's your opinion, there's nothing wrong with that. That's cool. I've said that before for fights, or I had no interest in it. And like I said, I really thought that, to be honest with you, I really thought it was just going to be that. I really just thought, okay, no big deal. It's going to be a good undercard, and that's it, But obviously that's not the case. But yeah, I mean, to me, it's kind of like, all right, dude, we get it, man. We get it. But to me, you don't have to. I'm actually trying to find the guy here. What the hell was his name? To me, it was just kind of like, all right, dude, just calm down, dude. It's really, we've seen this stuff before, and if you're gonna sit there and say this fight shouldn't happen, and then Angulo wins the fucking fight, you look pretty fucking dumb. In fact, it was Dylan Hernandez. That's who it was. A Los Angeles Times sports, columnist. I have nothing against this guy, but this is what he said. Let's see. Okay, Quillin looks very unsteady on his feet, blah, blah, blah. He said maybe this isn't as lopsided as I initially thought, but this is hard to watch. Two old men, neither guy should be anywhere near the ring. I mean, really? So you're telling me after that Angulo shouldn't have been in the ring? I mean, come on, dude. And if you're going to go out of your way to sit there this is, here we go. My God. Now how was Alfredo Angulo cleared to fight Peter Quillin? Has absolutely nothing left. Shameful matchmaking by the PBC and Fox, even by boxing's non-existent standards. This is absolutely embarrassing. You know what I mean? So, if you want to say they shouldn't be fighting, I told them just turn the fucking channel. This is not like a new thing in boxing. So you can't just come out of nowhere and be like, oh, that fucking fight sucks. They shouldn't do that fight. And then let some other fights go. You gotta just be consistent. You gotta be consistent. So should Francisco Vargas, should he be fighting? Should he have fought in May? You really think Vargas should be fighting? And I brought it up. I didn't say it shouldn't be ever made. And, I just wasn't really looking forward to Burchell Vargas as a competitive fight. Now, I knew stylistically it'd be fun. I watched it. I didn't say boycott it. I didn't say anything. I was just saying I'm a little worried for Francisco Vargas. Cool. No big deal. I was a little worried for him because, the fight didn't need to happen. So I didn't say that you should, I wasn't calling for a ban. I was just saying, hey, the fight probably shouldn't happen. That's all I was saying. So to me, it just, you see this, especially with the PBC, we see this all the fucking time. And it's just kind of like, dude, just calm the fuck down. You know what I mean? And not only that, but you work for the LA Times, dude. Your word means something. So when you sit there and say, oh, this is just, I can't believe it. This is disgraceful. And then the dude wins, who you said shouldn't have even been in the ring. The commission shouldn't have okayed him. You know what I mean? So to me, I just had to get that off my chest. That goes back to the professional matchmaking. If you think it's a shitty fight, think it's a shitty fight. But once it turns out not to be a shitty fight, shut the fuck up. You can't have it both ways. Just like the PBC haters that say it was out of business 6 months into it, and now they're finding something wrong with it. You know what I mean? Like, which one is it, dude? Like, it's okay. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm. There's been plenty of fights. Like, I was against the Bernard Hopkins, Roy Jones Jr. Rematch. I almost said rematch. I didn't buy that motherfucker. Hell no. No. Doesn't mean I didn't try to watch it on YouTube later and see if it was okay, you know. But to me, it's just kind of like, I don't know. People just get so over the top on being a professional matchmaker. I'm not. When a fight gets announced, of course, you're a fight fan, so you get to give your opinion on how you think the fight is, whether it's equally matched, whether the style match is going to be fun, whether it's going to be boring, what it means in the weight class, what it means for the sport, what it means, you know, for the pound for pound list, whatever the fuck it is. You get to think, okay, I like that or not, or it's okay, or blah, meh, right? Whatever it is. But so get that off your chest and then move the fuck on. That's all I'm saying. We get so many of these, just like Tyson Fury and fucking Otto Wallen. Now, I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, Otto Wallen's going to cut his eye. Dude, this could be a tough fight. First of all, it wasn't really a competitive fight past the 6 rounds. You know, it really wasn't. I mean, how many rounds did you actually give Otto Wallen? But he belonged in the ring. It turned out to be an interesting fight, and it had plenty of drama because of that cut, and especially how, you know, the roughhouse tactics, too, I could appreciate from Otto Wallen. But I just just don't watch this shit. Don't say it shouldn't be commissioned. Just don't watch it, dude. You know, that shit just gets, the matchmaking thing gets so old, and just like Spence Porter, now all of a sudden you see people that say they're hardcore fight fans, but the only fight they want to watch at welterweight is Crawford and Spence. That's it. So are you a boxing fan? Like, what have you been doing for the last 20 years then? Like, so you just don't watch any, you're a hardcore fight fan, but you can only watch 1 against 2. Well, how many times 1 against 2 happen per year in, you know, an individual weight class? So now all of a sudden Spence Porter's a bummy fight? Or let me guess, it should be on Fox. But yet when it goes on Fox, you're going to sit there and say, oh, this isn't sustainable. This isn't, if they're both making $3 million, there's no way they're making ad money on this. We know right now that paying dudes huge money is not sustainable on Fox or Showtime. You know, we know, you know, just ad revenue. We knew that a couple of years ago. We got to build to that. Let's hope that it builds to that. But we already knew that. So it's like, so it's not sustainable. Lose your money, right? Basically, they're saying, put it on Fox and lose your money. It's an investment. Well, they put these guys on Fox and NBC and shit like that. So it's not like they haven't invested these guys into it. If you don't want to get the pay-per-view, that's cool. That's fine with me. You don't think it's a pay-per-view worthy fight? That's cool. That's no problem. I just kind of look at pay-per-view fights like, well, is the fight a quality? Is it top 5 against top 5? Is it 2 guys in the top 5 fighting? Two guys in the top 10 at least? Yes. Okay, cool. You know, is it going to be an action fight more than likely? Yeah, probably. So, you know, there are is the undercard good? Yep. So it does check a lot of boxes for what we think of pay-per-views worthy or not. You know what I mean? And I think that the goalposts always get moved for the PBC stuff. That it gets moved. You know, I remember I just want a good action fight. I remember for years people say that on pay-per-view. Or give me an option. Give me a $25 option, you know? Give me an option. Well, you know what? A lot of people that live in a city or within 15 to 20 miles from a metropolitan area can watch Spence and Porter for right around $20-some. Matters your state. Some is 20, some is 22, some is 25 with tax, whatever. But they are giving the majority of boxing fans in our country live within about, you know, 20 miles the population, from a metropolitan area. Now, I understand people that live in the outskirts, that doesn't make sense to them. I mean, in South Dakota, North Dakota, they probably don't even have one theater that has it, so they're screwed. I'm not saying it helps everybody, but they are giving you a $20 option. And I've been taking that option on pay-per-view, not just PBC, but all these pay-per-views lately. And I love it. I just had to rant a little bit because I saw so many people destroying this fight, but they just move on. Like, don't watch it. Why do you sit there and just destroy the fight? And that goes for anything. Like, if you don't like a top-ranked card, say you don't like it and move the fuck on. Like, it just, everyone has to have a side so much, and sometimes I just got to release some shit. So I apologize, okay? I apologize. But anyway, I just thought it was funny that a LA Times dude said Quillin or Angulo shouldn't even be licensed, and he ends up winning the fucking fight. It's like, come on, dude. Like, boxing is like this. You know what I mean? You can't act like this is your first time ever seeing a fight that you go, I'm a little nervous with that guy. You know what I mean? Or like I said, don't watch the damn thing. That'll help your nerves. You know what I mean? That'll help your nerves. Anyway, what else we got? Oh, actually on that card, and I'm trying to find the day. Oh, here we go. So on that card, Jesus Ramos, who now is 11-0 with 10 KOs. He came out with the jab, landing clean shots, the jab, right hooks, the right hooks to the body in general. He looked pretty damn good. Now, in the third round with Edwards, I think it was Ricky Edwards, there was some two-way moments, but Ramos was landing better. Then a left hook and I think a right landed really hard. And then he landed this left hook that just knocked this dude out. So a nice win, highlight win for Jesus Ramos. Looked pretty damn good. And then Chris Colbert came out from Brooklyn. He came out looking like Deion Sanders primetime, late 80s, early 90s Atlanta Falcons primetime Deion Sanders, right? The best cover corner of all time. I like Darryl Green too, but I'm talking about cover corner. I'm not talking about tackling. I'm talking about cover corner. So he came out and he really took care of business, dude. He took care of business, knocked old boy out in the first round. Just tore his head off basically. Okay, that doesn't sound nice, but yeah, he scored a nice little knockout. It was kind of one of those where you're like, oh, I didn't see. He got him. He got him good. It was one of those where it just kind of happened. Right, so he moved on to Chris Colbert. I'll just call him Colbert. Colbert from Brooklyn. He's fought 2 or 3 times, I believe, in the Armory in Minneapolis. So he's starting to get a little fan following there as well. But then we had Thomas Delorme and Terrell Williams. Terrell Williams, 18-0, 13 KOs coming in. So this guy was basically trying to become a contender, as a prospect. And I thought he won the first round. He landed better. Then Delorme started taking this thing over. Some close rounds, no doubt about it. But he just started unloading shots with the left hook, landing flush with the left and right hook. In the last minute of the second round, Delorme, I had the fourth. The third was close. The third was really close. Because Williams was landing these long right hands. Probably a minute into the round, both these guys were returning shots. That was a close round. The third round was. But then Delorme, I gave him the fourth and the fifth. I'd say 70. I think it was 70 seconds in. He landed a really good shot. Delorme did. May have buzzed him. You could just tell I wrote this is a good scrap. It was just a fun fight to watch. Williams came out with left hooks, looking like he was going to start to win the round in the fifth round. Delorme came back, fires back in the last part of the round. It's just fun, but I gave that to Delorme. I thought some of the inside-outside work with some like pot shot landing by Williams got him the sixth. I gave him the ninth as well. The seventh and eighth went to Delorme. He kind of went in and out after that too. Although Delorme did get a head clash cut. I forgot about that. Yeah, he got a really like a healthy cut there. That long jab again and a few probably better landed shots in the ninth round. I gave Williams that run. Then left hooks midway through and started kind of turning the tide in the 10th round for Delorme. He landed a left hook that knocked Williams down with about 65 seconds left in the round. And he just rushed Williams. He was landing some heavy, heavy shots. Credit to Williams, though. He stayed on his feet again, and he finished the fight. Delorme, I had it 7-3. The judges saw it 96-93, and then two of them 98-91. I had it 7-3. A clean win for Delorme. He landed 236 compared to 213. He was outworked a little bit, 791 to 670, but he landed 35%. So that's always, a good percentage, just landing straight up. But it was a good fight. It was actually a really just fun fight to watch. So that Fox card, man, that turned out to be really good. And some of these Fox cards, and especially some of these FS1 cards too, that are kind of under the radar. Nobody's really talking about them because, the Quillin Angulo on paper, we really didn't know what Angulo we were going to get. So if the main event is not popping, some people just, whatever. You know what I mean? And like I said, the undercard is where I was actually interested. And I thought I was just going to watch the undercard on DVR and just watch the highlights of Quillin and Angulo, to be honest with you. But I got home, I sat down, and the fight was just starting. So I was like, oh, I'll check it out. No big deal. And I was really happy that I got to see that. And I just love it when that happens because just because I do podcasts and shit doesn't mean I'm not a fan. You know what I mean? Like, I love it when shit turns out different than we thought. That's like a bonus. That's like a cherry on top. And not only that, but a lot of, we want these fighters to stay busy, but then when they're in stay busy fights, then people rip the main events. And you're like, okay, well, it's a stay busy fight, as long as you put something on the co-feature. We always say that. If you got to stay busy in the main event, okay, cool. But give us something to sink our teeth into on the undercard. And they definitely did that. They definitely did that. Real quick, I'll fly through the show box, and then we'll get into the news and whatnot. Oh, shit. Okay. So, yeah, it looks like the switchboard's good to go. I see more and more people on there. So, yeah, we're good to go. I have several text messages. I just can't read them right now. Brandon Lee took care of Milton. What was it? I can't remember his last name. Start with an A. It was like a Rosa or I can't remember. Where is the sheet? But anyway, he won by third round. TKO. It was right at the belt in the third round. Landed a really nice shot. That was over. Brandon Lee won. He moved to 17-0 with 15 KOs. And also Vito Melnecki, the prospect who is under 18, and the commissions are still allowing him to fight because, well, it all started in New York, because the New York commission had seen him spar really good pros as a young dude, so he knew he could handle himself, and handle himself he did. 50-second knockout. Good old Vito. New Al Heyman signing. Dude selling tickets. Could get interesting. Then we had Ruben Villa and Enrique Vivas. And Vivas, this was a good fight early. Vivas, I thought, won a close round. I gave him the first and third, and I gave Villa the second and fourth. Obviously the second for sure because he scored a knockdown. Near the end of the round, he scored a knockdown. It was a 10-8 round. And it was crazy because you had Vivas get up, and it happened right at near the bell. Actually, I think it happened like the 5-second mark. and with 5 seconds left, 6 seconds left, something like that. And he got up, and the ref just forgot that it's the end of the round. So there was another minute that went by. Mikey Garcia was his promoter, Enrique's promoter, and he's like, "What the fuck, dude? It's a 4-minute round. My guy got hurt, and he had to go an extra, minute or whatever." But he bounced back in third, like I said. It was a 4-4 fight. I gave Villa the fifth round. I thought he did enough there, but it was close. Actually, yeah, the fourth and fifth, I thought he started kind of picking it up, and he started to win the rounds. The sixth round I did give to Vivas. Seventh round was a little closer, but to me, some of the closer rounds, I don't know. It was just one of those things where he was cleanly winning it. You know what I mean? And as the fight went on, although some of them were close, I had Ruben winning it. I had Ruben winning it fairly cleanly. The jab was just killing it. He landed 85 compared to 35 jabs. Vivas went to the body really well. He actually had the advantage 46-15. 15 over 10 rounds is not enough body shots, obviously. But an interesting fight. Vivas brought a lot of pressure and threw 702 punches, but only landed 21%. A buck 48 he landed, but still a good win by Ruben. And then the main event, which was kind of all over the place. We had the hometown kid, right, with Michael Dutchover against Thomas Matisse, who we had seen on Showbox a couple of times. It was 13-0 with Dutchover and 14-1-1. So we had some prospects going head to head. Really close first round. I couldn't really, find who, a winner of it. I think, I don't know. I actually just put a question mark there. I thought Dutchover went to the body probably a little better, but Matisse's jab was pretty damn good. It was a close round. Then I gave Dutchover the second and third. He was just landing a little bit better, landing jabs, a little busier. That's basically what did it. But then you had some shots where Matisse would be right there and coming forward, and then he'd get out. I thought he did a good job with distance and the jab and left hooks, especially to the body. He started kind of taking over the fight. I gave him the fourth. I gave him the fifth because of better rounds. Another close round in the sixth. That could have went either way. Seventh round, I thought Dutchover made a nice little run in the seventh and eighth. But then the eighth round came around, and there was a cut. Really bad one. And it was kind of weird because you're like, so are we going to the scorecards or not? It seemed like it was a punch, and they had to stop the cut because, like I said, it was really bad. You could see it. But then you couldn't really tell. The broadcast was a little confused, and then they announced it and said, yeah, the fight stopped at this point, and people are booing, but it's legit because it was, from a punch. We just went over that last week for Tyson Fury. Matisse, his jab, 91-18. That's really what won him the fight in his distance. He overall landed 187 at 122. 41% of his shots he landed too. So nice win by Thomas Matisse. Dutchover. I wouldn't doubt if there'd be a rematch on that one, to be honest with you. Interesting fight. Nothing to write home about, but it was interesting nonetheless. And that about wraps up the recap portion. Sorry, I got all these damn text messages from earlier in the show, and I'm trying to decipher which ones are like there's something wrong or not. I think we're good to go. So yeah, we're definitely get into this Spence Porter preview here in just a moment. We will in a chunk of minutes, I should say. I'm going to go over some news first. We should have some more people calling in. Definitely going to try to close the show with Portland 503. I'm sure he's got a whole lot to talk about. The year of the Mexican fighter continues. Alfredo dude. Wow. That was sweet, man. I actually saw Angulo live twice. One of them was on the undercard of a Gamboa fight. It was like a HBO Boxing After Dark. It was in Pachanga, which is out of LA. It's actually closer, I believe, out of San Diego now I think about it. But I was staying in LA. We drove out there real quick. And I always like watching fights at that Pachanga. You're just right on top of it. You know, it's kind of got the ballroom feel to it. It's really cool. In fact, Sergio Martinez was on that undercard, and I remember seeing him before, and then I saw him in that fight, and I was like, holy shit, this dude's fast. Like, this dude's a good fighter. And it was funny because he was the first one out of the triple header as far as the HBO broadcast. And Sergio, after that, got all dapper looking, came out all smooth, and was just a ladies' man. He was signing autographs. And I was like, okay, this dude's got something going on. I see you, Sergio. I see you. And, obviously he had a whole lot going on. So that about wraps it up. Like I said, good week, or last week, good win by Soriano. Amanda Soriano over Heather Hardy, who, showed her heart. Good fight, but one-sided, of course. Devin Haney looked good. We'll see where he goes. Hopefully they step him up a little bit more. But I've liked the way they've moved him. Zapata got went over Pedraza at 140. I was wondering why Pedraza went to 140 so quickly. Like, he just got to 135 not long ago. You had a great fight against Lomachenko, and then you go to 140? I don't know. Kind of strange. Is that it, really, from last week? I don't want to bore you guys too much. The recap from last week, but like I said, life got in the way, and I just wasn't able to do a show. And then I was going to do one Friday, just like an hour long, and it just said, "No, you're not, Chris. You're actually not going to do that. Sorry, but not sorry." Yeah, I think that about wraps it up. Recap wise, anyway, we're going to get into some of this news. Plenty of news to talk about. Like I said, Ryan Garcia and Golden Boy looked like they were heading down the road of litigation. It really did. It really did. It had all the makings of a litigation issue. And you had Garcia actually, hey, if you don't believe in my talent, release me then. He was looking for a release because Oscar De La Hoya, once again, I think it was the LA Times article, I think, he was saying, maybe it was the Athletic, he was saying that, my best talent, my best prospect is Virgil Ortiz Jr., which I think is true too. I don't think Ryan Garcia's his best project, but he didn't like that. But anyway, to throw your fighter under the bus saying he didn't want it with Duno, he didn't want it with this guy. It was too tough of a fight. It really, Ryan Garcia got super pissed. He did, a call. Like he did like a mini press conference, and they had a teleconference, and he was saying, "Hey, dude, like this is bullshit. I'll fight this guy, but give me a little bit more money, and he kind of saying he knows his worth and this, that, and the other, and he'll take on Duno next, or and sure enough, he's taking on Duno next on the Canelo Kovalev undercard, and Oscar was saying, Ryan Garcia has a lot of people in his ear, and Gomez on Twitter, like I said, threw his guy under the bus saying Duno was too tough of a fight. Then he tried to clear it up. He tried to clean it up a little bit and walk it back a little bit. He said, "Oh, actually, it was his team that said it." Well, his team didn't say that. His team, whatever. It was just weird. But anyway, next thing you know, they're like, "Well, fuck, dude, this is not good." As we know, Golden Boy Promotions has had a hell of a time closing fights of late. We hear rumors about a fight, it doesn't happen. Rumors about a fight, it doesn't happen. We hear money issues, for one side of the fighter or something like that. We hear, obviously Canelo, not fighting on Mexican Independence Weekend. Cinco de Mayo in Mexican Independence Weekend is Canelo's weekends. How do you drop the ball like that? So there, and Canelo was tweeting what Ryan Garcia was saying because Canelo is his uncle or whatever. I don't know what it is now. Those guys really like each other. They're in the same camp. And it's really going to help. If Ryan Garcia could turn out to be pretty damn good, it's going to help, though, having Canelo as your uncle. Because that's a good look, especially if it's on the undercard, you know? That's a good way to build Ryan Garcia. But all of a sudden, we find out there's a huge extension, especially for a prospect who's doesn't have a belt yet. So all of a sudden he's got a new deal, extended deal. I guess they had already had like a couple of years, the way Oscar said. You know, we had already heard Gomez. Maybe he said we already had him for a couple of years already under contract, but we just extended it. Basically, we just showed him the money, and hopefully that'll heal things. But they got to figure out a better way to do it. You cannot throw your guy under the bus, even if Ryan Garcia did say that's too tough. I don't want to fight that guy ever. I don't know, man. You still like wait a little bit and then see if he's gonna still want to be with you before you throw him under the bus. Like, especially on social media, it was so weird. He's like, "Hey, Eric, Oscar, call me, dude. What are you online for? Call me." You know, it was very. I hate to say like, "Oh, that was unprofessional," but it was just dumb. It was just dumb, but. So they basically put themselves in a corner where they're like, well, we got to fucking do this now. So they gave him a bunch of money. So complete 180, signs a big extension, Ryan Garcia. All is right in the world with Golden Boy Promotions and Ryan Garcia, thankfully for them. And like I said, he's fighting Duno. They got a little Twitter beef going on. Maybe it's an Instagram beef. I don't know. Probably both. Social media beef. And they're going to fight. And by the way, Duno looked kind of He looked like doo-doo in his last fight. But anyway, so that was something I wanted to talk about on Friday when I was going to do the show. Well, really Wednesday, then Friday. But and then also Kovalev, you know, and Canelo. We know that fight's done for November 2nd. We've known about it for a while in Vegas. And everybody's like, this is sweet that it's going to be at the 175-pound limit. Well, that is awesome. However, it does sound like, well, there is, I'll just clean that up, there is a rehydration clause, but it's vague as hell. Dan Rafael said he doesn't know, but he feels like it's going to be, I don't know where he feels it, but he said he feels like maybe it's in his knee, maybe it's in his ham hock. Oh, no, I'll just stop right there. But he said it's probably going to be something like the IBF. And as we know, the IBF has that 10-pound thing the next morning. So, you know, that could be just fine for Kovalev. But if it's a 5-pound, you know, if he has to be 180 the next day in the morning, that could cause Kovalev some problem. Now, we asked his promoter, main event, Kathy Duva, Kovalev's promoter, and she said, yeah, it's at 175. I'm not talking anything else. My guy's going to win, basically. No details at all. So that tells me, in the way main events have done Kovalev, you know, besides getting them built up to go on HBO and all that stuff, I'm not saying that they did a shitty job there, but he's never really been a ticket seller. And he's gotten the short end of the stick plenty of times. And so I wouldn't doubt if they just said, hey, dude, fucking 5 pounds, just sign the contract, you know? And he's like, fuck it, I'll just do it. You know, who knows? We know that Kovalev has, like in his last fight, last 2 fights, I should say, that he was making weight a little better than he previously had. Because remember, he was talking, he made even cruiserweight because he was having problems making 175. Now, some people are trying to act like they're trying to use Kovalev's reach to make him not seem as big size-wise. But make no mistake about it. At light heavyweight, Kovalev's not a small guy. Okay? Let's get that crystal clear. He's not a small guy. We know he's had problems trying to, you know, inch down to 175. So if he only can put 5 pounds on, that could be a problem. Now, I started talking about this on Twitter with some people, and some dude brought up a list from like 2015 and beyond, not beyond, 2015 and backwards basically. So he listed something from 2015, 2014. It was basically like next day weigh-ins. Some of them were vague, like HBO weigh-ins. Some of them were on the IBF because he did have the IBF. And so a lot of people were like, well, dude, he had the IBF, so he's going to be fine as long as it's what Raphael said, 10 pounds. Well, that's true. That could be just fine. But when did, like, you gave me a 2015 stat. As we know, it's 2019. We're talking about 4 years later, and sometimes 5 or 6. It kind of matters the stat this dude was throwing at me. So, because he kept saying, no, dude, there's no stipulation. There's no stipulation. I said, you talking about the 175 limit, or are you talking about rehydration? And then he brought up, Kovalev's trainer. And he's like, well, this is what Kovalev's trainer said. Well, is Kovalev's trainer in the negotiation? Because, it was just kind of weird because he was like, well, his trainer said, Buddy McGirt, I don't know why I keep just calling him his trainer. Buddy McGirt said that, well, we would have done the catch weight if that's the case, because if he said, I don't think there's a stipulation in the contract. Well, he doesn't know. He said he doesn't think. In fact, he was just kind of thinking aloud to himself. He was like, well, in fact, I mean, if that was the case, we would have just done a catch weight. Well, as we know, those are two different things. I think a catch weight may hurt him worse because if you got to whittle down to 72 or 70, that could be a problem. But if you only can go up to 78 or 80, that could be a problem too. So we don't know. Let's not just. I'm not taking any credit away from Canelo at all. But if there's a rehydration clause, I just want to know what it is. And right now it's vague. And when things are vague, they generally are bad in boxing. That's just how it goes, So Dan Raphael is saying, yes, there is a rehydration clause. He just doesn't know what it is. And Kathy Duba, like I mentioned, doesn't know either. Or she knows, I'm sorry. She knows, she doesn't want to talk about it. Well, why in the world would you not want to talk about it? Well, maybe it's going to screw your fighter. I don't know. Let me take you through a vague weight situation real quick, okay? Just to get, if people are kind of like, I don't get it, I don't know, I don't get it. Or if some people are just listening to hate on me the next day in my DM, whatever you want to do. Remember Juan Manuel Marquez and Floyd Mayweather. That was supposed to be at a catchweight, right? But you had Floyd at the press conference looking back at the poster and saying, it says welterweight. It's welterweight. I don't have a catchweight. It's welterweight. Well, technically, if it's 140, dash 0.25, an ounce over 140 makes it a welterweight fight. So that was vague what he was saying, but remember, we could not get a clear answer on then we did think it was a catch. Oh, it is a catchweight? Okay, so what's the number? Nobody would fucking say the number. And it almost seemed like they knew Floyd wasn't going to come in that weight. He had been out for a while. He hadn't weighed in at that weight for a while. And also, they just thought, Marquez was on the fucking thing. Don't worry about it. Yeah, it's a catchweight, Marquez. Yup. They ended up giving him like $600,000. That's good for him. But remember how vague that was all the way down to the wire? That's what I'm trying to tell people about this. There is a rehydration clause at this fight, and it's not an IBF because the IBF's not at stake, but it may be an IBF-esque weight where it's 10 pounds. If it's 10 pounds, I don't think there's going to be a problem. If it's 3 or 5, we may have a problem there. But anyway, real quick, just going to cover a couple more items. Top Rank came out with some of their fall schedule. You have Shakur Stevenson and Yoet Gonzalez, which is a prospect fight. I really like that fight. I know it's for a vacant WBO. It's for Oscar Valdez WBO. But I still look at it like two prospects trying to become a contender, and whoever wins this fight kind of goes in the contender mode. I know it's a belt on the line, but I like that fight because I kind of like to see where Stevenson is. So that's a good fight. Herring, Jamal Herring comes back against Lamont Roach Jr. That's going to be on Veterans Day in Fresno. So that's kind of an interesting fight. I don't mind that fight. Burchelt and Sosa. Jason Sosa and Miguel Burchelt. Action-wise, that's a good fight. I just think Sosa's a little past it to actually win the fight. But Burchelt, he loves to throw a lot of punches, so it'll probably be a good-ass fight. It's not, I want to see what they do in the co-feature on that because I think that's just a good stylistic fight. But like I said, I kind of want to see what else they give us on that undercard. But that's kind of an interesting, rollout there. Oh, and this is going to be fun. Kell Brook. So we heard Crawford and Kell Brook. Crawford, Kell Brook. Crawford, Kell Brook. No, turns out now they're trying to make Kell Brook and Amir Khan for spring 2020. Do we finally get it? I don't care at this point until it's spring 2020 and these two bastards are in the ring. I take that back. A couple months before, if they manage to sign it, I do want to see the press conference and the face-off. That's just going to be funny. But anyway, sucks for Crawford. I wanted to see a Kell Brook fight for him. And as we know, Wilder and Ortiz 2 is going to be Fox pay-per-view, not Showtime pay-per-view. Espinoza actually said financially it just didn't line up for Showtime. This is from Keith Eidig on Boxing Scene. He's quoted on deal didn't make sense for us, basically. And they also, I don't know if they were trying to tie it for the Wilder Fury, tie it like a 3-fight deal or something like that. Because remember, we heard a 3-fight deal was already signed for that Brazil fight. Brazil, Ortiz, and then Wilder. We heard about that. There was no actual facts that came about it, but that's what was being reported minorly. That obviously is not the case, but he just said that we're not going to take a disproportionate risk in order to secure it. We know the boxing market has undergone significant changes. Obviously, it has. A lot of people overpaying for stuff, and he just said, it just didn't work out for us. Now they do have some cards coming out, and I assume after this, because Fox won't have a card until November, because October, FS1 and Fox is just baseball playoffs. So we knew this, at the beginning of the year. This is what they said. So supposedly Showtime has a lineup that they're going to announce very soon. We do know what one of the cards is going to be, and it's a good one. Erickson Lubin against Terrell Goucher. That's a good fight. That's a really good. I like that fight. Robert Easter Jr. going up to 140, which is something he had been thinking about. He's a tall dude. It must be hard getting down to 135 going against Adrian Granados. I like that fight. And then Rodriguez and Warren as the opening fight, which is a decent fight, mid-level fight. If it's a good contender fight. I think it'll probably be for an eliminator, I'd assume. I think I read that. So that's a good triple header. We'll see if Showtime can actually put out some fights to close the year. That's what it sounds like they're going to have. And, because obviously Showtime's been rough on them this year, to say the least. And then one more thing. Keith Thurman had hand surgery. He's going to be out till 2020. He said that in January and in July. Both those fights was messing with him. And he said, I want to get it fixed. So he got it fixed. So hopefully he heals up. I still like Thurman. I like what I saw out of Thurman in that fight. Even though he lost, I thought he gave the guy had a broken nose, a broken rib, and he got knocked down in the first round. And he still fought really hard. I had it 7-5. So I was, I was happy with him. A lot of times we haven't been that happy with him because he's been out, and some of the, some people have been a little impatient with that. Like, what the hell, dude? Are you coming back? Do you want to fight Spence? Who do you want to fight? That type of thing. So, just a little bit of news there to top it off. I'm going to go ahead and bring in Carcino in just a second and get this thing going. The Spence Porter talk, some news talk. Some of these undercard fights are going to be very interesting as well. I'm looking forward to some of those undercard fights, that's for sure. Durrell he's past his prime, but he like, if you rush him, he's gonna fight you. You know what I mean? He's not just gonna sit back and play the wall. He's gonna go for it. So I like stylistically, I like that fight. How can you miss with Jose Cito Lopez and John Molina? That's just a brawl waiting to happen. Got a couple of buddies that I'm going to go to the movie theater with. Like I said, I've been pushing this movie theater because it's under $25. Matters what state you are in. I'm not going to give you the exact price because some of it's 20, some of it's 22, some of it's 25. But you get to reserve your seat. You get all 4 fights. It's just way better. You can watch 3 fights for $75, almost $80. That's one pay-per-view. And it's a little bit different than going to watch it at a bar too, because at a bar you got to get there even earlier to make sure you got a spot and this and that. That's not the case here. That's not the case at all. So, I appreciate, ever since they started putting these fights in the theaters, I appreciate giving us a cheaper option. And a lot of these, theaters, most of them have liquor. So you got liquor, you got food. You can go out like you're in high school and take a lap around the theater or something, or put something in the air right in front of the theater. You can just go have fun, come back, your seat's right there. So I really appreciate it. The last 15 to 20 years of pay-per-views, I wish they would have given us this option, because for years we talked about, man, if they could just lower the price, and we knew that was never going to happen. But we said, hey, I wouldn't mind paying pay-per-view for that fight, but it should be a $35 one. And I remember having these discussions with, fight fans and on Twitter and forums on YouTube, and everybody kind of had this concession of, hey, dude, or consensus of, man, if they just cut the price in half. Now, it's easy for us to say on the outside, yeah, just cut it in half, when we're not the ones putting up the money, but they're basically cutting into, in 2/3. I mean, you're paying $20-some. I love it, dude. I've gone to, I haven't paid for a fight full price since the first Kovalev Ward, I believe. No. I take that back. I did pay for those. One of them, I think this rematch maybe was but both Canelo Golovkins. So yeah, man, I love the theater thing, dude. And like I said, it's sometimes as boxing fans, you can only find another person to watch the fight with. So then you're at $50. You might as well say, fuck it, let's go to the theater. Anyway, let's get down to business. I'm going to go ahead and bring in Carcino, of course, from Carcino for Life. Check out the YouTube. If you already haven't, you have. I know you have. Of course, BoxingSocialist.com as well. Let me see here. My switchboard was acting a little funky. There it is. Carcino, man, what is going on, buddy? How the hell are you? Carcino, I can't hear you, buddy. Are you muted? Are you asleep? Can you hear me? Maybe I'm on mute. Let me see. I don't think I'm on mute. Carcino, you there, buddy? Portland, do me a favor. Can you hear me? Can you text me to make sure you can hear me and there's not something going on with my end? I'm going to, maybe this is just someone else from Chicago. 773, you're live on Rope-A-Dope Radio. Is this somebody else and I just screwed up? No. Okay. So, okay. So you can hear me, but I can't hear you, Carcino. I can't hear you at all. Huh. Okay, let me see if it's on my end. Maybe I have something muted and I just Huh. Yeah, that's weird. I can't hear you at all. I have everything properly. Let me see here. Yeah, I can't hear you, Garcia. Are you still talking? I can't hear you at all. I don't know what's going on. It's not even registering. Like usually there's a level and stuff. I can't hear you at all. Yeah, all right. Try to call it back. Maybe it's just a poor connection or some random stuff. That makes sense. And I'll try to refresh it too. I guess earlier it was acting up a little bit, so okay. You're gonna, and then I'll you know what? I'm gonna call too just to make sure that that you can hear me too. I am looking forward to this fight though. I know it's a clear, probably win for Spence. All right, let me check here. Let me see if I can hear myself. Yeah, I can hear myself. And when I talk to my phone, I can hear it. I can hear it crystal clear. Check one. With his phone. Something must have been up with his phone. Because I just called, and I can hear myself. So we're going to give it a try here again. And let me make sure everything's going on my side. Alrighty, let me. Yo, I hear you. I hear you loud and clear. I got you.
All right.
I don't know what the hell happened.
That's what's
Technology, you know how technology is sometimes. Shit just fucking, I don't know. But, hey, the bottom line is we got Cino in the house, man. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. I just got off the slots, just won $900 off the slots, so I'm feeling really good.
Nice, dude. That's no joke either. That ain't easy to do. I'm proud of you, man. Hell yeah, and you got out, too.
2 nights in a row,
and you got out. And then you got out. You walked away.
Yeah, thanks for the show, man. I would still be in there right now if it wasn't for the show.
Yeah, right. You'd be giving it right back.
Right, exactly. That's why I was glad I was like, yes, I got to get out of here.
That's funny. That's funny, man. Well, as always, we appreciate you calling in. Per usual, I always appreciate that. Last week, dude, I was going to do the show, but life got in the way, like a 4-hour delay of something that I had to take care of. It happens, whatever. But then I tried to do one later in the week real quick, and I had some sort of fucking sound thing that I didn't have time to fix because I had to go to work, that type of thing. So I couldn't even do a show last week on boxing. So I'm just happy to be back. And obviously we got some stuff to talk about. We got a pay-per-view card, Spence Porter. Some of the other cards are actually just as fun. I mean, that Lopez Molina, I'm looking forward to that just as much as I am the main event because it's a 50-50 fight that's going to be a brawl. We obviously have some news and notes as well. I mean, Alfredo Angulo pulled one of the biggest upsets of the year on Saturday over Peter Quillin. That was freaking crazy. Where do you want to start, my friend?
Oh, man. Let's start with the Angulo fight. I mean, that was just so incredible to me. The dog, El Perro. Man, that was amazing. I loved every minute of that fight. And when I was watching the fight, putting money down, and the reason why I was thinking of putting money down is because of the fact that. Can you hear me, bud?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, the reason why I was thinking of putting money down is because of the fact that I knew Peter Quillin hasn't looked good in a long time. He really suffered from, after that knockout by Danny Jacobs, he was really struggling.
Yeah.
He was like he was like They put him in tune-up fights, and he was in like a dog fight in the tune-up fights. He really wasn't looking well. He was kind of like Jay Leon Love. You know, they were worried. That's why they kept him out the ring for so long. He was getting like rocked and scarring. So they were trying to be careful with him. Great guy. Showed a lot of heart in that fight, but again, he was dazed and out on his feet a lot in that fight, and I don't see controversy at all. What was controversy is that he won on one of the cards. I'm like, what? They gave him one of the cards?
Yeah, when I heard that, I was like, oh, this is going to be a draw. Yeah, we're going split draw, aren't we?
But it was like, how could you rob him? It would be too big of a robbery.
That's true. And luckily they didn't. Luckily he got the win. I'm really excited about that, man.
Everything you want your fighter to do, he was able to.
All right, Cino, we're dropping you again. It sounds like you're in a tunnel or some shit, dude. Yeah, are you going to the moon or something? You sound like you're okay. It sounds like you're in a tunnel. I thought you were like an astronaut and you're about to take off in a shuttle or some shit, dude. Something.
I don't know.
Some
Maybe
I
think maybe it's something they're doing out here, and out here in this town, they probably doing something with the Wi-Fi or fixing something, and it keeps dropping the Bluetooth and putting it back on. So that's probably what it is.
You're good now. You're good now. You're solid now.
Yeah, I'm getting close to my home. That's what.
Okay.
So.
And he just dropped. So obviously, I think he's right. He's going through some shit. He's going through something. Didn't it sound like it sounded like a ghost tunnel. It was like tunnel. That was weird. He's gonna call back in seconds, I assume. Just gonna burn. Just gonna tap dance a little bit. Hopefully, he didn't drop all the way to where he's screwed and he can't call in. But I'm assuming that that's not going to be the case. Let me just give him a couple more seconds here. I'm sure he'll call back in just a moment. But yeah, dude, like, I don't know. That was some weird ass. That was really weird. And I don't see him calling in just yet. We'll see here. I'm going to hit the switchboard. Well, I'm pretty sure it is on his side now. So at least I know that. And I know it's not Blog Talk or my internet. So I guess that's a positive. I'll just text him. I'll just text him a little bit here. So, yeah, I really did think though that it was going to be a draw when I started hearing the split card. I was like, oh, here we go. Here we freaking go. They're going to do Angulo wrong, dude. They're doing him wrong, man. But that was not the case at all. All right, so he's not calling back. Maybe he's having problems, obviously. Calling back even, So we'll see. He did say he's getting closer to his house, so maybe that'll be the case. I'll just pick up and we'll just go from there. As far as this pay-per-view though, the way they've been promoting it. Now I did see some people. I mean, you still got people saying, "Oh, too bad they're not promoting it," which is fucking dumb. But I literally saw that on Twitter, good old boxing Twitter, And then like late August, a couple of people that have been around the sport for a while were saying, "Man, they're really dropping the ball on this." In fact, one dude was like, "Does Erislandy Lara?" Yeah, this is what he said. He says, "Does Erislandy Lara and Canelo's brother have the same budget as the same marketing budget as Spence and Porter? Because right now they're hyping this fight just as much as that." Well, it's like, are you really going to burn all your marketing money at the end of August when mid to late August, people are barely watching TV, dude. They're fucking out of town. They're camping. They're hiking. They're road tripping. They're up at a cabin. They're fucking doing something. They're getting their kids ready for fucking school, whatever it is. They're not in front of their fucking TV. They're just not. And so why are you going to burn late summer? Why are you going to burn all that fucking money just to make, just to get the word out? It didn't make any sense. And it's like, dude, it's coming. Like, we've seen Fox already do this stuff. So I don't know why you're doubting it. And sure enough, man, they have done, back-to-back Saturdays, Fight Camp 1 and 2. And if you don't like Fight Camp, that's cool. I get it. I got news for you, though. It's not for you and I. It's actually not for you and I. It's for a casual fan. So there are some things that I like about it. There are some things that I don't. Something that's like, oh, that worked. Some things that's like, oh, that's fucking corny. Just like that PBC boxing show. Some people think, well, they should do, a boxing show in general. And I hear that, I hear that. But it is called the PBC boxing show. So they're not like calling it the Fight Game or Talking Boxing or, they're calling it the PBC show. You know what I mean? But a couple of those fight camps were doing bigger numbers than some fights on ESPN, over 600,000, both of them. And then this last weekend, on Saturday after a football game, Sunday as well after a football game. Look at the numbers here. So on Saturday, the same fight camp, I think it was 3, fight camp 3, and then there's 4, right? So on Saturday on Fox, it did 971. That was the average, which is a 30-minute show. It probably peaked at 1 million something. Then on Sunday, it did 1.7 million. This is like that number is like Mayweather and Oscar De La Hoya numbers on HBO. You know what I mean? Their face-off show, or the Fight Camp show, that type of thing. And even the face-off on Saturday between Darrell and Benavidez did 659,000. In the whole show for the PBC on Sunday did 791. There's a lot of ESPN fights that haven't done that. Most Showtime fights aren't going to do that. FS1 fights aren't going to do that. And then they had a 4-minute segment on the Fox preview show for the day. So they've really been doing a good job. I see Carcino is back in the house. Okay, what's up, dude? How you doing, man?
All right, we're clear now.
All right, good. Good. That's what I figured. I was like, well, you did say that you're close, so I think he'll just call back a little bit. Okay. So let's get back to this Angulo. Yeah, let's get back to this Angulo stuff too.
Yeah. See, now what Angulo did was basic. The moves he was doing was subtle, but that's because he has such a boxing background. He's been boxing his whole life. Quillin hasn't. And this is where, experience comes in at. When you've been doing something for a short period of time, for someone who's been doing it their entire life, and it was like he kept falling for the feint. It's a short feint, and then here comes the right hand. And his head is like right there. He had zero head movement. And he was so on line to get hit, and he was getting hit flush, and his legs were shot immediately. His footwork was terrible. I'm like, my goodness, what is going on? And
they were stiff. His legs were stiff as hell, dude. It looked like a deer on ice, dude.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is bad. And I was telling somebody, I'm like, I don't think he should fight anymore. And that's when a lot of people were saying he was talking about, like, life outside of, boxing and all of these things, and he's invested his money well, and that's why he said in the post fight, like, I'm glad my wife got a job.
I know, right? That was funny. That was telling too.
Yeah, cause it's telling, because it's like he knows, like, this is it. Some fighters, they know, like, I got to do something else. They're aware that they could be hurt now. That's their aura of invincibility is gone. Because I remember this guy got hit with some big shots and was still on his feet by Andy Lee. I'm like, man, I'm like, it was shocking because Andy Lee, I picked to beat him in that fight because Andy Lee had
slick, ability. And they called that knockdown, and I thought Andy Lee still won the fight, but I knew that there was a possibility that he could lose because he's still kind of green as a fighter. This guy was a waiter working at a restaurant, and now here he is boxing. So, he's a great guy. I mean, like a super great guy. And the thing about him is that this is about as far as he's going to go. I think it's time for Peter to just do something else. But for Angulo, who really, think he's back, that's still not a good idea for him either. This should have been a retirement fight for both of those guys because Angulo, he's still 3 steps slow. You get in there with a guy who's active, he can get hurt real bad. I don't see Angulo beating any of the top prospects. He can't deal with lateral movement. He's got a set. You can see his punches coming a mile away. They're not as crisp as they used to be, 5-6 years ago. They were sharp, coming out. Yeah, a little sharper and harder. Now they're more like pushing the punches. So definitely I think you should, have a seat and sit down somewhere. But, hey, I know he's like, look, I got bills to pay. So he's probably going to keep fighting. So the best to him. Now, as far as the rest of the situation, as far as the Tyson Fury fight, I wanted to talk about that. What went on with Tyson Fury and Otto Wallen. Now, what Otto Wallen did to Tyson Fury was something that Tyson Fury wasn't even prepared for. They didn't believe that Otto Wallen was dedicating everything to his body, Chris. He started off, even his power punches, they were all going to his body. So when Tyson Fury, he's used to fighting Europeans and all the Euro fighters who are all headhunters. So, yeah, he can make them miss. Even Wilder, he's a headhunter. So definitely he can make those guys miss 24 hours a day. But when a guy is targeting your body immediately from the jump, even his power punches, he's aiming everything at the chest. Boom, boom, and he's a southpaw. This threw off Tyson Fury, and it threw his timing off. So in the first couple of rounds, he was really like trying to get his rhythm, but he was having a hard time because the guy's a southpaw, and he's getting ready to block the shot, and they're coming right at his chest, so his body's not moving. So all of those shots were there for him, and I'm like, man, this is a fight Tyson Fury had to change his strategy because those shots were coming, they were there, and I'm like, man, this dude, he's just not gonna make an adjustment. He's gonna sit there, Tyson Fury, trying to figure it out, and then when the cut happened, I said, uh-oh, and Tyson Fury had to step it up a little bit. He kept trying to counter and lead Otto to come in and fall in the punches, which was a good idea. He's trying to get the uppercut, but he's still throwing the combinations that he throws for a conventional fighter. When the southpaw, you got to kind of, use that right hand as a lead sometimes and follow it with the left hook. He was only using the left hook as a counter until he got cut. And he started upping the pace and bringing the fight to Otto. And that's what he needed to do. I'm like, he would have finished this fight earlier. I felt that he would have kept bringing the fight towards Otto Wallen and backing him up because Otto was roughing him up and smothering his offense and getting rough on the inside with him. This is not the guy you wanted to do that because this is his style. He could fight on the inside. He wants to go to the body. He's not trying to headhunt. And I was like, wow, he's making the fight interesting because he was winning. Early on, I'm like, this guy's winning. So if they'd have stopped that fight, he definitely would have lost. Because I'm like, man, Otto Wallen was doing pretty good, but Tyson Fury, I knew would wear him down when he started putting his size on him. And that's what I knew. And he made the adjustment, and I said, okay, he's realized he's trying to protect his eye, but this is the best strategy for him, is to put his weight on this guy who's going to tire himself out. Because he's fighting with all his heart, and Otto Wallen they had a great strategy, great game plan, and they went out and implemented it. So when the shots were coming up top, it was harder for Tyson Fury to slip him because as the fight goes on, Tyson Fury's legs slow. It's just like the fight with Wilder. He was flipping punches good for 6 rounds. Then the head wasn't kind of getting low enough, you know. The legs are going out. You're using a lot of leg strength, moving around the ring, then, you know, you're not getting low enough, and then you get clipped. But, like in the 11th round, you know, I thought, you know, he hit Tyson Fury with a pretty good shot. I'm like, oh, man.
Yeah, he had him hurt. He was at least buzzed.
Oh, yeah, he bucked him. And I was like, wow, that was a shot. And then, you know, and that was a good, you know, response round because he had just got hurt to the body. You know, Fury was hurting him in the body with those body shots when he finally started throwing some shots downstairs. Because I'm like, when you come forward, this guy's throwing up the high guard, you got to dig them shots low. He's a southpaw, so his liver is more exposed to you. So definitely you got to throw them shots down there. And he actually hurt in Otto with a body shot in that fight. I thought that was a great fight. I said, man, I did not expect to see this fight break out like this. I thought this fight was going to go maybe 6-7 rounds, but they had a great game plan, and the cut kind of like it changed the fight, and everything had to switch and get turned around, and this is the exciting part of boxing. Anything can happen. One thing happens, and everything changes. The fighter got to adjust, and it's a whole new ball game. So, yeah, I thought it was a great interesting night for fighting. And then they were talking about the fights that's coming up all this week. And today, Chris, I swear to you, Errol Spence made me want to buy pay-per-view.
Well, how do you do it?
I mean, that face-to-face with
yeah, dude.
With Sean Porter. Oh my God, Errol
that shit was funny, dude. And he was doing nothing but tell the truth. He is the truth because he was telling the truth. He was like, "Hey, dude, you're a dirty fighter." So I'm not. Oh, I'm a dirty fighter. Like, yeah, dude, you're a dirty fighter, man. Everybody knows it.
And that's what made it so funny is that how nonchalant he was talking about it. And it was like so funny. It was like, yeah, you know, you're just a dirty fighter. You know, everybody knows you're dirty, you know. It was classic. He just sold me the fight. I am definitely watching this. If I had never seen a fight with him before, this would be a fight I have not missed without a shadow of a doubt. And I said, man, this was great. I'm glad I am here to witness this. Because that was incredible. I said, you got to be kidding me. Did this just happen? Somebody's like, yep. And the funny thing that got me is what he said about Kell Brook. That was the funniest thing ever. I almost fell on my chair. He was like, yeah, he negated everything that you tried to do. He's like, he controlled you. He negated everything you tried to do. He hurt you a couple of times in the fight. He was backing you up. And he was like, I hurt Kell Brook. He's like, you think you hurt Kell Brook? He's like, yeah, I think I hurt him in the fight. No, you didn't.
No, you didn't.
I fell out of my chair because he was so nonchalant. Everything he was saying.
He's got this,
my God.
He's got this laid-back country thing, and it sounds like he's going through puberty sometimes because his voice will hit that little high pitch, you know, when he kind of runs out. But he just, like you say, he's so nonchalant, like, no, you didn't. You know, it's funny, dude. It's like a very effective way. It's like the nicest corporate way to talk shit, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And it was like so nonchalant, like, come on, man, everybody know you're a dirty fighter. It's like Sean was so frustrated. And he was like, all your fights is like a closed bar burner type of fight.
Yeah,
it
is so fucking true. It's so true. Too. Like basically every one of his fights, the Granados fight was tight. The Berto fight wasn't really tight, but other than that, it's been all tight.
The fight was closed. The fight with Ugas is closed. All your fights, he's like, but Dan Porter's man, he's like, yeah, but my fight's against world-class championship fighters. What about you, though? You fought a guy that moved up. He's like, but I won every round. He's like, I won every round, though. He's like, I heard if you fought Mikey Garcia, it'll be a bar burner.
Right? Well, shit.
There's going to be another close fight with you. Oh, my goodness. Chris, do you realize how much I was laughing? Tears was coming out my eyes. I was laughing so hard watching that. That sold me the pay-per-view. I'm like, how much do they want?
Yeah,
I am
I'll pay
buying the fight. They have sold me the fight. I am buying this fight. There's no way I'm missing that fight.
That's funny, dude. That is funny. Yeah, I got
the best fight on there, though.
Go ahead. Yep.
Is no, go ahead. Say what you're gonna say.
I was gonna say I got theater tickets right in the middle, right the best seats right in the middle. I got theater tickets. Me and a couple buddies.
Oh yeah, I don't like the middle seats. I like them like I kind of want to see where everybody's sitting. So I go to the
movie
theater late. Yeah, I want to go there for the first fight. So I'll be like, okay, let me see where people are sitting. I'm like 3 seats over because I don't want nobody coming across me. So I gotta go to the bathroom.
Right.
I don't want anything. If I gotta get up and go to the bathroom, I don't want to have to cross people and I need to be like at least 3. I can cross 3 people.
Right on the aisle too. If shit pops up, you just dip like, okay, time to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be a great fight, man. We're gonna be sitting up there checking it out this weekend, man. That's gonna be great. But the best fight on that card is David Benavidez against Anthony Durrell. That is probably gonna be. It's another fight I think that's on that card that I think is gonna be pretty good. I forgot what it is, but I think they got another fight on there. So
Jose Lopez and John Molina. That'll be a fucking brawl.
That's the one. That's the one I was talking about too. I was like, well, that's 400 punches around.
Exactly.
Somebody's getting knocked out, and then somebody's getting knocked down. The other guy's gonna get up and put the other guy down. I'm like, I don't know who's gonna take it, but all I know is a lot of punches are gonna be thrown. Oh man, I saw that lineup and said, oh man, they got a great lineup for a pay-per-view. I would see that any day of the week. I'm like, I got 3 great fights right there. That's Anthony Durrell, David Benavidez fight. Man, you want to talk about action-packed?
Yeah, let's break that one down. We got the old dog that doesn't want to go anywhere, and the young buck trying to come up and snatch his belt back. And Benavidez, styles make fights, and both these dudes love to get it in.
Yep, and I'm seeing the fight, I'm looking at the fight, and I'm looking at the styles, and I'm like, man, this is going to be action-packed. But the thing about Anthony Durrell is he's so skilled, but he's, this is his last year fighting. So he's like, this might be his last fight if he loses. So he's already thinking retirement. But the thing about it is Anthony Durrell fights, he gets in a hole sometimes because he waits too late to throw a shot, and he keeps his chin a little too high in the air and makes a little mistakes that veterans make when they like lost a step or two. It's slight things, but he's got a lot of experience that he can set traps for David Benavidez. David's a little wide, and the reason why David's a little wide with his punches is because he's so fast for his size, and he confuses people. So people believe things are open that normally looks open that's not, because he can make up the time, because he's bigger. I mean, he's faster than what he looks like, and he appears, and he catches people with those shots, and they like, whoa, and the other one comes so quick. You're like, wow, it throws your reaction off. So Anthony has to look out for that early because he's young, he's going to come out with it, and so Anthony's going to try to set traps for him and try to catch him with that right hand. Andre's right hand has. For a fighter like him, he loves to shoot the right hand. If it's there and he catches you with it early, he can come and follow it up and put you to sleep. He's got the power to get it done. It's just that over a period of time, he has to catch you early instead of trapping. If you drop your right hand, you drop your left hand a little bit, you'll make it, and instead of trapping, bang, you'll spring that right hand on you, and it'll turn the whole fight around. But he only does that really early in a fight. It was like Caleb Truax's fight, I think that was, and I couldn't believe that happened to Truax. And I was like, wow, I was not expecting that. And I think Truax even said that fight turned my life around, because he's like, I couldn't believe that just happened to me. So he got up and he thought I ended up winning a world title after that. But yeah, that shocked him. So Anthony's really good with that right hand. He's really right hand happy. And
good jab,
he's looking
though.
for yeah, he can jab, but his jab is mostly a setup. He wants to land the left hook and throw. He's a power puncher. Like, that's his game. Like, Darrell is more of the boxer. Andre was more of the slick boxer.
His brother.
Stand up angles. Anthony was to take your head off guy. Even in the gym, he was the take your head off guy. He's the guy that's going to crack you and you're going to fall out. So he was always heavy-handed, and the confidence level was high with him. But he was always, discredited for certain reasons, and he gets frustrated in the ring sometimes, and he keeps his head up a little bit. Might be a headbutt cut in this fight, because both guys are going to bring it. And David Benavidez, his confidence is through the roof. He feels nobody can beat him. And he's going to be hard to beat because he jabs, too. And he jabs fast. Yeah, he comes forward and he does full counters.
He throws a lot of punches. A lot of combination punches.
But that can get him in trouble in a fight like this. So this is a guy who knows that. He knows your style. He knows you've been fighting a lot of guys that basically in the competition they fold when he comes forward. Anthony loves that pressure. When you come forward, he knows how to steal strikes. So even if you got these fast shots, if you don't have your defense up, that right hand will crack him and drop him. I think he'll get a right hand in and surprise David. I think David's going to win the fight. I don't think by stoppage. I think by decision. He'll beat him by decision, but it'll be a unanimous decision. It'll be clear. But early in the round, I think he's going to get his taste of flesh. I think Anthony Darrell's going to touch him up a little bit. When he tries to come with those fast punches, he's going to give him a boxing lesson a little bit early on, catch him with some flush shots. But at the activity level and the speed, of the fight, if David controls the pace, then I see him winning by unanimous decision. But I see a good fight. I definitely see a good fight.
You're going with David Benavidez, a.k.a. Tony Montana.
Yeah, that's right. By unanimous decision. So, and as far as the fight with Molina and Jose Cito Lopez, I'm going to go with Jose Cito Lopez with a knockout in the fourth round. A TKO in the fourth round for Jose Cito Lopez. Yep. That's going to be my prediction for that one. Fourth round, TKO. That fight's going to be a blazer. But I see
it really is.
Round, I think Jose Cito Lopez knocked him out with a left hook. John Molina's problem is the left hook is always there to get him, and he, for some reason, cannot see a left hook coming. And his chin is in the air, and that left hook's going to clean him. And unfortunately, I don't know what it is with him and left hooks, but he cannot see him. And when it comes, it's going to come fast. And that's going to be the end of the fight.
And we know Jose Cito still has enough, in the tank. He proved against Thurman earlier this year in January.
Oh, yeah, he definitely does. And that's the guy, man, I don't know what's going to happen with Thurman when he comes back. Because he took a pounding. He took some heavy damage in that fight. I'm like, man, that guy took some shots. So he gave his pound of flesh, but, man, did he take some shots. Man, He hurt him really bad. So hopefully, he heals up, he comes back. I mean, he had a good-looking performance where it wasn't totally embarrassing for him.
Yeah,
so
it was very respectful. Yeah, he looked, he did definitely made a good account.
He can definitely come back from, So you're like, okay, I could bounce back from this. So naturally, when you see that happen, now you're like, all right, I'm back in the game. So looking at everything in totality, I think that the fight cards that they have right now is set. If Keith Thurman want to fight the winners of these guys, because I don't want to see him come back with a tune-up. I want to see him fight. I don't want to see him come back and rematch Jose Tito Lopez or somebody. I want to see him in nothing but fight from here on out. You got to fight the winner of Thurman and Errol Spence. It's time to get going because you didn't waste about 3 years just messing around. So it's time for you to get in here. If you stayed in shape and lived like a fighter, you wouldn't be having this conversation.
That's true. He did slow down, and then everybody else looking around like, well, shit, I don't know. No, you're right. It screwed things up. And let's hope that, like you said, after giving a good account for himself, let's hope that it'll get, healthy and be able to, that fight didn't take too much out of him. Because, like you said, both of them landed a bunch of punches too, man. That was a good ass fight, man. And that's what I like about this fight. Now I understand the people that say Spence and Porter's not a big enough B-side. It shouldn't be pay-per-view. I get all that. Some of these folks though will say, well, they're not going to make the ad revenue because they got to pay these guys a certain number. And so they're actually, it's not sustainable at this point on, let's say, a Fox. And that's true, too. But, I remember a time, Carcino, whether it was on YouTube, before, after, whatever, right, and forums and Twitter and all that, where people used to say, well, I just want 2 top 5, top-tier, top guys going at it when it's a pay-per-view. I don't want this showcase or just because you're a name, you're going to stay busy on pay-per-views. I want a real fight. When I buy a pay-per-view, I want a brawl. I want a fight. These two are fighting. And this is basically what we got. We got 2 top 5 guys. We got a fight that stylistically is going to be fun. They hooked up the undercard. They're giving you a $25 option in the theater for the majority of fight fans. Obviously, the people that live in the outskirts, that doesn't count for them, and that sucks for them. But I hear people saying they can't believe this is on pay-per-view, and it's like, how long have you been watching boxing? Like, I understand what the premise of it, that, it's not Spence against someone that, is a healthy B-side to where they could sell it and it's no big deal. But it's also about the fight itself. And if you're giving me a $25 option, it's funny how now people bitch about shit that back in the day, not even that long ago, we're not talking about the 80s, but like, it's just funny how people, they just keep moving the goalpost, basically, is what I'm saying. It's the same people over and over that find something to bitch about Al Heyman. When there's other things to bitch about Al Heyman for, but all you got to do is say this stuff, and you're like, well, dude, how about you just don't buy the fight then? It's okay.
That's the problem with people. It's like, what do you want? You want them to just give it to you? They gave you fights for free on BBC, on NBC. You had them on Fox. You had them on Spike. You had them on all these networks.
They already took the loss to build them up. Now they're trying to cash in a little bit.
Exactly. I'm like, why? I mean, it kills me. Even as a say, like, hey, the promoter's making money. I'm like, yeah, the promoter got to eat too.
Right.
I don't get it. Like, and fighters think like this too. I mean, like, the fighters sometimes, you don't really feel sorry for them sometimes because they're the most, like, ungrateful, spoiled people you've ever seen in your life. They want to run behind anybody that can give them another $1. He's like, hey, look, he said he's going to give me $16. When you talking about 15, this guy's giving me $16, man. I mean, you can't go and give me $16? It's like, look,
talking about 15. 15?
Right.
Yeah. That's 16 over there.
Right. I spent $50 trying to promote you, so I had to buy half of the tickets and give them away so people could see you. So down the road, maybe you'll be something.
you know, a lot of these people that are complaining about it aren't even going to buy the pay-per-view, Carcino. We all know it's easy to stream.
She's going to put us looking for the illegals. Like the guy, like, hey, man, you got to stream from the fight, a free stream. I'm like, I'm not a big baller like you. I'm like, dude, the fight's $20-something bucks. Don't you have friends? You
yeah,
can
like go to the
pay-per-view or go to your friend's house and you say, hey, I'll put in $10 on it.
Right. Or
like,
go to the theater. $25, $20
right, like,
dude.
you go see a movie on the IMAX screen, that's like $16. You're like, you're paying $13 just for a 3-hour movie. I mean, that you basically know the outcome for when you go in. You're like, well, I know how this is going to end, but I want to see it anyway. It looks entertaining. And I'm like, so now at least you get something you know, don't know how it's going to turn out. So I really don't get people sometimes.
I don't get it either because remember, we used to say, man, if they could just cut the price half, I'd probably get that pay-per-view. And I think that's a fair statement. That's cool. Well, here it is. They cut it in 2/3 from 75 to 25. There you go.
Yeah. I'm like, that you're talking about a deal. I'm like, who wouldn't buy that? I'm like, dude, I might buy it at home and still go to the movies. Just so I have it on tape.
Right? I've definitely done that too. I've done that too.
Yeah, I've done it before and go to the movies because I go there because it's amazing that we got so many boxing fans out and just listening to them break down a fight is like hilarious. I don't even want to interject because it's so insane.
It's fun to be amongst people like that.
Yeah, I'm like listening to these guys, and the guy's like, yeah, you know, that's what he needs to do. You know, he's just getting hit in the head because, you know, he's got to swing the right hand. He just got to cock back and just throw the right hand. I'm like, that's it? Yeah, he's losing. I'm like, how is he losing? I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, I cannot get in this conversation. This guy knows nothing about what he's talking about. I forgot it was like Adrian Broner Pacquiao fight, man. Gosh, this guy was so off. I'm like, man, if Adrian listened to you, he'd be knocked out by now.
Yeah, right?
He was T12 like that because he got hit in the body with a straight left. And I'm like, those things hurt. I know it's not a movie where he bounces off of it. You got to read.
Yeah, this ain't Rocky.
Like he got hurt. And they miss everything. It's amazing how people be looking right at something and miss it, and they looking right at it and miss it and still talking. And it's like the casuals, man. But they are into the fight. It's amazing. People come up there checking out the fight, and it's like almost like you go into a fight. People all in there talking, and bets were being made. Bets were being made in the theater. Guys were picking the guys.
Right. All the Thrilla and Manilas and all those fights overseas, they all were closed circuit. That was pay-per-view before pay-per-view. Closed circuit was pay-per-view back in the day, and a lot of times it was at the theater.
Yeah, that is true. That is absolutely correct. But
we're not here saying this is Spence Crawford. We're not here saying it's Spence Crawford. We know Porter's not a bum either, though.
No. Porter's not a bum. It's just that he's very good at his element and luring people into his style of fight. If he lures you into style of fight, like Paulie can outbox, Sean Porter. But Porter will beat him in the fight because he's more physical. And his physicalness just brings people to his element, to his level, and it negates your boxing ability. Paulie couldn't keep him off of him because he didn't have a brute strength, so he never could get his boxing ability in because he just was a brute force. It's too strong for Paulie. Paulie was too strong at welterweight anyway. But he couldn't have that type of style matchup. Sean is good at luring people into his fight. Even with Danny Garcia, he did better than I thought that he would do in that fight. some of the rounds when he did box, he boxed it quite well, and it kind of shocked Danny Garcia because he was expecting Sean to just full out brawl, so they were training and preparing for that. They didn't prepare for Sean to be, using the jab, moving around, and I'm like, Danny was a little lethargic, and by the time he picked it up, it was a little too late, and I was like, man, now you put it in the judge's hands when you could have, really put some ground behind it, but you was letting Sean outwork you and outbox you, and that you can't do that, and especially a championship fight at this level. So I thought, like, man, Sean, he showed something. He actually sat back, didn't go in for a lot of headbutts, jabbed, moved around. But for this fight here, he's going to need the headbutt. He's going to need the elbow, the headbutt, and everything else. That's what he got to come with from the ding. If he come out there trying to box with Errol Spence, that is the biggest mistake ever. Because Errol Spence,
100%.
when he comes,
I said 100%. It would be a huge mistake. It'd make no sense.
It would make zero sense because what Errol does